What's better, lump sum investing or cost averaging? Picture this. You've somehow got your hands on £50,000. Whether you were lucky enough to inherit it or smart enough to rob a bank and not get caught, now it's time to decide what you do with it, and you've landed on investing. Do you A, invest it all in one go and leave it up to the market gods to see if it appreciates in value? Or B, spread that investment out over months or maybe even years so you don't potentially lose a huge chunk if the markets turn sour? Statistically, one of these options usually comes out on top, but that doesn't mean that it's the right option for you. And before we explain any further, please note that nothing we say in this video is financial advice. All investments have risk, and past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. Option A refers to an investing strategy called lump sum investing, and this is the process of investing all of your money in one go and leaving it in the market. This means that all of your cash will benefit from any spikes in market performance, but they could also be devoured by a sudden market crash. Option B refers to dollar cost averaging, or pound cost averaging here in the UK. And with this approach, you split up your pot of cash into consistent, smaller investments over a period of time. So the same amount of money will end up being invested, but in very different ways. Think of it like getting in the pool on the first day of your holiday. Some people like to cannonball, launching themselves deep into the middle of the pool without knowing the temperature, because they're willing to stay in there as long as it takes to climatize. Whereas others opt for a more tentative approach. They might dip their toes in at first or slowly walk down one step at a time, because they don't want to take the risk of diving in and immediately freezing up. This choice largely comes down to your own personal tolerance of cold water, even if everyone agrees overall that it's better to just get it over with. What this analogy doesn't clarify though is what constitutes as cannonballing or dipping your toes in, and this is important for our investing analysis. If you're someone that is receiving a monthly salary and investing £200 of it every month, you might think that that's cost averaging, dipping your toes in, but it's not. As you don't have this huge pot of additional money sitting there to invest, this is just regular investing, or it could even be more like lump sum investing on a small scale. Just like with cold pools, previous historical data suggests that lump sum investing has tended to be a better option in the past. Vanguard issued a report in 2012 and then an update to that report in 2023, where they found that lump sum investing outperformed cost averaging 68% of the time. Now, this doesn't tell the full story, but it is important to consider. Within this report, they looked at 3 different portfolios. One was made up of 100% stocks, then another that was 60% stocks and 40% bonds, with the last portfolio being a reverse of that, so 40% stocks and 60% bonds. Then they put an imaginary total of $100,000 into each of them, one as a lump sum, and for the other, they spread the investment out across the first 3 months, meaning they were fully invested for the last 9 months. What it found was that when markets were at their best, lump sum outperformed in all of the portfolios. And even when the market was performing at an average level, this was also the case, although not to the same degree. However, when the markets performed badly over the year they were invested for, cost averaging came out on top. And this is because if you lump all of your money in at the start, then the markets start to go down, you're more affected because all of your money was put in at the highest price. Whereas with cost averaging, in this case study at least, they put 1/3 in at the highest price, then another third in at a lower price, and the final third in at an even lower price. So their losses were minimized as a result. But Vanguard's report isn't the only evidence that lump sum wins on average. Morgan Stanley released a similar report which ran an experiment over a much longer time frame, spanning all the way from 1926 to 2023 in rolling 7-year investing periods. In their experiment, lump sum investing prevailed around 56% of the time, which would back up the idea that time in the market is better than timing the market. So if you're planning on investing for the long term, these numbers would suggest that lump sum investing takes the edge slightly. Although remember that past performance is never a reliable indicator of future results. So there's your answer. Lump sum investing, right? Well, like I said, it isn't only about the numbers. There are a few other factors at play here. While long-term data might show lump sum in a better light for the average person, it doesn't tell you about the potential downsides to this strategy. You see, putting all of your money into the market can look great when the markets continue to go up and up, but not so much if you experience a market crash. Say you invested all of your money into a fund that tracks the FTSE All-World Index. In mid-February 2025, within a month of that happening, you'd have lost almost 16% of your entire lump sum, which would be a devastating amount. However, if you'd spread out your investments before and after this crash, your losses would have been reduced significantly. And we know this because we actually did this in a recent video on our channel where we invested £10 a day for an entire year. Because we were investing every single day, we were able to buy at all of the low points in the market as well, meaning our investment wasn't just wiped out in one big crash. And this is perhaps the main argument for cost averaging. It can mitigate risk during unstable market conditions. We're not saying that it completely gets rid of any risk. We did still lose money during this period, but it does soften the blow. We were able to slowly adjust to the cold water one step at a time instead of immediately freezing our nuts off. Then when the market started to recover, we saw huge growth on certain days due to having bought some of our shares at such a lower price. Cost averaging gives you a safer option, but it comes with the risk of your entire portfolio missing out on huge market growth. Interestingly, Fidelity released a study that highlighted the importance of staying invested for as long as possible, and it showed the potential losses that you could have incurred by missing the market's best days over a 42-year period, and the results were honestly shocking. They found that if you invested $10,000 into the S&P 500 in 1980 and left it invested there until 2022, your portfolio would have been worth over $1 million. But if you missed just 5 of the best trading days in that entire 42-year period, your portfolio would have been worth $400,000 less. These numbers are so crazy that it's genuinely hard to wrap your head around. So this again backs the idea of lump sum investing. Even though your money will experience the worst days of the market in full, it'll also get the benefit of the highest points as well. But putting data to one side for a moment, there are behavioural factors to take into consideration as well, and these could be the decider when choosing between the two strategies. If you're someone that doesn't have a high risk tolerance when it comes to investing your money, then lump sum investing can be quite daunting. Ask yourself, if I were to lose a significant amount of this money shortly after investing it, can I see myself withdrawing it all in order to not potentially lose more of it? This is a very real possibility with the lump sum approach, so it's important that you're ready for both the highs and the lows that could come with it. Loss aversion is an interesting area of behavioural economics that plays a huge part in the decision between the two strategies. For many people, the idea of losing £1,000 is far worse than the joy of winning £1,000. Psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman found that the pain of loss is actually 2 times greater than the pleasure of gain. Researchers at Cornell University,
you ever heard of it?
Had a different spin on the matter, posing an important question. What would affect you more, being told that you're earning £500 less this month or £500 more? If you're someone that has a low risk tolerance and has loss aversion, lump sum investing might be a daunting proposition, and this is where cost averaging makes a lot more sense for certain people. In fact, Vanguard claimed that if you suffer from loss aversion at all, you should only choose lump sum if your risk tolerance is very high and you take an adventurous approach to investing. While cost averaging is largely considered to be the safer option, you should also remember that when you're spacing out your investments, a large portion of your cash will be sitting on the sidelines, and this will slowly be eaten away by inflation. You could reduce these losses by splitting your investments over a shorter period, and it's actually been found that short-term cost averaging tends to outperform long-term cost averaging. So if you're going to drip feed your cash into the market, it might be worth taking this into consideration. If you were to cost average over a longer period of time though, this could save you from potentially incurring capital gains tax if you're investing a large amount. If you have a larger sum to invest than you can get into tax-free accounts like ISAs ready to invest, cost averaging could allow you to do this without exceeding that limit within the financial year. And some people just prefer having a reserve of cash at their disposal. If there's a chance that you might need some of your money in the future, it could suit you better to invest your money slowly while holding back some for emergencies. After all, everyone's financial and personal situations are different, and this will no doubt play a part in which option is best for you. And to be honest, you shouldn't be investing money that you might need in an emergency in the first place. Alternatively, you don't even have to choose one option over the other. You could put some as a lump sum and then cost average the rest of the money. That way you can still benefit from the time invested whilst also mitigating some risk. But of course, you're not getting the full benefit of either. To answer the initial question of which option is better, It depends on you. Consider your risk tolerance and psychological response to losing money, and mix it with the data to figure out what suits you best in your own financial situation. The best strategy isn't one that potentially makes you the most money in theory, it's the one that you feel comfortable with, and the one that helps you stick to your plan in reality.